We are back on the job this morning and we're building walls.
That's right. And I heard we had some comments about what are the different parts of the wall called, the different framing members.
Yeah.
So let's just hit it real quick, all right?
Okay.
You got your common stud. We mark this with an X on the plate, and this is just a regular stud. I think everybody understands that one pretty well. The parts that make up the window frame here are the jack stud. Its job is to hold up the header, which is the structural member that holds the weight of whatever is above that has to span the width of the opening, okay? Beside it is the king stud, and it's just a regular stud. But what makes it a king? It's nailed to the jack. Now, I don't play cards a lot, but I feel like there should be a queen stud.
Okay.
King, jack,
All right.
queen. Next, in the bottom part of the window, we have what we call the sill. And it is what the window sits on. It's what your trim is gonna sit on right there. And then underneath it, we have short studs, and these are named cripples. Now, the cripple studs have to stay on layout, and a lot of times at the top, you don't have layout because you have a solid wood header. But we mark those through and through so that we have a good chance of having the layout underneath the window be the same as if it was a continuous wall with no opening.
Have you ever built walls before?
Never.
Okay. I didn't know that.
It goes like this.
I've not built a
Ready?
single wall,
Okay.
ever.
It's really important to show Max what to do, but it's really more important to show him what not to do.
Yeah,
And that's why Jason just shanked the big nail right there.
That's why I'm with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to show him exactly.
That's all good, dude. I got big shoulders. I can handle it.
Ain't that big.
I'm teaching him how to nail a corner together.
Okay.
Okay. And I told him the way that I do it, and I demonstrated that for him. And I told him that probably he's going to see guys out here doing it differently than that. And I told him whatever he does, don't do that, and do it the way that I taught him to do it.
As we're framing these walls, one thing we're looking for is that all the framing members are flush and that everything is pulled really tight before we nail it off. So what we tend to do is use structural screws where we have a big gap and things aren't aligned to pull everything tight and hold it. Then we'll come back and nail off the field. And sometimes we'll even reuse the screw. We're using these GRK structural screws. This is the RSS that has the bigger head on it, and that'll draw better because it has that pan head. The screw could actually pull a smaller head all the way through. You could just bury it to the end of your bit. One part of the wall framing Jamie didn't hit on is a wall partition. This is where a wall tees into our outside wall. We're trying to build these in such a way that we can insulate around them. Like here, we can insulate there, and then we added this piece as a sheetrock nailer. The wall will attach here, and then sheetrock will still be able to attach to that. So there's a lot of ways you could do that, but that's one way right there.
Okay, the way this is measured out is from the end of the wall that you're hooked on, 2 foot, 9 1/2 inches to the center of the window. So give me a good center line, 2 foot, 9 1/2. All right, now the window opening is a number 2, and I'm gonna scroll over here to the opening schedule, and the window is a 30 by 54, which is 2'6" by 4'6". Now I have to go to the actual window quote here and pull up the actual window that we're using. It has a specific number. This is sort of a generic size.
Holy crap. Ray's just standing here. Just hold tight, Ray.
The rough opening, 30 1/2 inches wide. So that's gonna be 15 1/4 off center.
So let me just write it here. 30 1/2 by what?
54 1/2.
Typically, we'll lay our tape down with the center line of the opening on the half number of the window opening. So 15 1/4 is half of 30 1/2. Then we'll mark the end and 30 1/2 in one shot. And that's a good way to make sure you actually marked it 30 1/2. Even if it was like slid to the side or something, you got the right number.
Right. I would say it's typical for a plan to be labeled like this one is, where the center line of this window to the center line of the next one is where you get your measurement. In this case, it's 7'11". So we're gonna pull that number. It also references the corner of the building out here, and I think we should pull back that number just to confirm we're in the right place. 21 3 1/2.
The last bit of information we need for these windows is how high they are in the wall. Like, where's our header gonna be? And I did flip through all the plans to see if there was an elevation drawing showing the elevation of the windows. There wasn't. And I can only assume, though, they might be a little more comfortable if they're lower than these ones up front because
Really?
they're just shorter windows.
Well, let me show you what we're talking about. In the plan, the view that would show that is this drawing here. It shows the face that those are on, but it's on this wall that's behind this main body of the house. We can't see it. There's no indication on the floor plan as to the header height. The ones that are beside doors, it's easier to tell, you know? And I can actually just line up on the edge of my screen with the top of a known 8-foot high door. And you can see that those are
Pretty much
lined
the
up
same.
with an 8-foot. They're actually not exactly, but basically.
It kind of stinks to slow down and try to make these decisions, but it's faster than us framing it wrong and having to redo it. We did get smart from yesterday and bring this trim nailer to nail these strips on so it doesn't split them. That's working great. Uh-oh, unless you shoot another nail.
Oh, man!
Robin Hooded that thing.
Hey,
man.
that's my new gun. Stop.
It's not lunchtime yet. Dude, it's like the clock broken. I think all of our clocks are broken.
We've made it around the west wing of our house here with the exteriors. And we're sort of at a stopping point here because we don't have a header long enough to go across this 16-foot wide accordion door that's gonna go here. So we need like a 17-foot plus header. Don't have it here. And we're almost out of 2x6 studs. And that's because we just got enough to get going. And Brock's gonna get a tractor trailer load from a buddy of his at a slight discount or something. But that's not here yet. So I think we're gonna jump on some interiors over here and try to get some of that knocked out. We're moving on to this interior wall right here, and we're gonna rig up with some different colored chalk. If you didn't know, the different colors are a different permanency. So this light blue is pretty temporary. I think the most temporary is either white or orange.
Yeah, white or orange. I didn't see white or orange. This was the least permanent I could find.
Yeah, so
And,
this is a finished floor, so we want the chalk line where it goes through the door openings to be able to wash off eventually, you know. Be like, wow, what is this blue line across my floor?
white at the house. You want me
There you go.
Okay, so
We're
we got
breaking
that.
out the old school chalk box. This is like what we used for the first 20 years, I would say.
And it's still around.
It's a 1-to-1, all right? So it takes half a day to reel it in.
Dude, that didn't take much at all.
Well, we're out of
It
business.
didn't even jerk on me whenever it did that.
Wow.
All right.
All right, we got another one.
Lucky for you. And look, this is like the updated version of that old one.
Yeah, just trash that one.
Yeah, I hate to say
That was
it, but
about at least half the line gone.
I'll recycle it, you know? It's metal.
Hey, lines on the floor running off. Jono's got a point.
Got our chalk line out. We're just gonna double check that we're running straight off of this wall over to that wall, even though we've got numbers pulled.
I thought about pulling off the back wall too, Eric.
Okay, Ray, you tell me. I'm right there is my spot. That's pretty good. All right, so we'll just snap it where it's showing. Now you can see the flooring looks totally crooked to our chalk line, and that's because their stamping got a little crazy over there in that corner.
Go ahead.
It was like blowing our minds. We're like, oh my gosh, what happened? These flooring lines are screwing with us so bad that we did double check from the back wall to each end of our wall as well, just to make sure. I mean, just to be sure. Is that on?
How often? We'll put it on here in just-
We're attaching a plate here on our line, and we're doing it the same as these walls, attaching a separate plate. And one of the good reasons for doing that is we can drill and put these Tapcon screws directly under the jack stud of our door opening. And if you do that after the fact, like once your wall is framed, if it's the bottom plate of the wall, you cannot get them there. And that's really where the force is gonna be when you slam the doors. If you slam the doors. Do you slam doors? I never slam doors.
My wife does.
Oh, my kids do sometimes.
One of the requests I had from the homeowner is that if we can make the door openings 36 inches wide, to go ahead and do it. Now, none of them are marked at 36. They're 30 or 32, which is standard. Now, in this one, we actually pulled from both directions to find out if we had enough room. We just barely did by deleting one stud and shifting it a little bit. Now, something you need to know here is that the door opening, when I say 36, you have to have an opening that's 38 inches wide, all right? That allows for the trim to have room and a little bit of shimming in case the framing is not perfectly square.
Dude, you just did the shimming dance. Did you see that?
I kind of did the thing. I
didn't
didn't even think about it. It's just my hands just started doing that.
I'm trying to block it out already.
42, 5/16.
So this wall is fixed to our concrete wall, which is totally fixed. So we're checking plumb on the other end to see if it is plumb, because that's going to determine, once we connect this wall to that wall, whether that exterior wall is plumb. So we're trying to think ahead here if we need to shorten or lengthen this top plate to get that side plumb. And last thing I swear on this wall, this is a bunch of stuff, but we did cut 5.5 back from a 16-inch increment so that this board, our plate, would break on a stud. And that'll save studs.
Yes, and the layout comes from the outside of the building, not the end of this board. The end of the board's inside the wall.
All right, I can't stand to talk about this wall anymore. Let's
No,
build
I
it.
got a few more things
Nope.
to add.
Here's the problem. This is our king stud, and it's nailed on the other end. You can see how twisted it is on this end compared to our square line. So I've got one fastener through the back at the bottom. I'm gonna try to toe screw it over to square it up. And it may just twist the other end, I don't know, but we're gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna pull it as well. That's better, it's close. It wouldn't matter that much, except it is a door opening, so we try to get it pretty squared up.
So, pro tip would be try to use straighter wood at your door openings.
We don't have any more boards today. We used them all, so pro tip, get enough material. Just for reference here, every one of these 10-foot spruce studs is $10.
$1 a foot?
It's $1 a foot.
Wow.
So we need to really try to not waste anything. Up next, we're gonna start framing the closet that's in this bedroom. Jason's already remodeled it.
Yeah, I don't really love it, but anyways, so it's gonna be.
It's
gonna be
fine.
a closet like this.
Yep.
So you can have this little void here. What I would have done is I would have got rid of that window, made this all closet right here, with a little door over there, and then make this a big wall, 85-inch TV, and then over here your bed right there. Dude, I can see it now.
You not realize that this is just a guest
Just a
bedroom in
guest
the
bedroom.
in the
Look at
in the
that,
basement.
85, Look at that.
Yeah.
Just the basement.
This is gonna be perfect for a little chair, little nook right here, or a desk. Jason's got us a beautiful looking brace here. So what we want to do is diagonally brace this wall and make sure it's plumb before we plumb this wall and attach it to it. Because if we plumb this and attach it to it and this one isn't plumb, when we plumb this one will be out of plumb. So
Wow, that's a lot of
we just gotta keep things in like the order, and we're gonna try to just brace around that. Never done that, but so we can get a longer one. What do you think, Jamie?
Oh, yeah.
I think it'll just bow around it. The reason we're doing this on the inside is the outside has to get sheathing, but we want this to remain in place until the sheathing's
Is that
on.
high enough?
So if we were to put this on the outside, we'd have to pull it off.
Oh, yeah, Max.
We'd have to pull it off before putting the sheathing on, which would be terrible.
Talk to me.
So it needs to go your way. That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah. Nice. So hey, this is looking good. Our plate went right across where it should have and covered the seam. And this one, there's the plate. It's gonna cover that one, so that worked out. And if you're wondering, we're not just doing these walls like total mayhem as far as the order of which ones we're doing. We're doing like the longer ones first and then the shorter ones.
That's right. You know why? I'll tell you why, because they may not know why. Who cares if it's long or not? Well, the big walls, the long ones, we want to frame in place on the floor, laying flat, stand them straight up where they go. The little walls, we got more flexibility to build them somewhere else, stand them up and carry them where they go. And we don't want to do that with the longer, bigger, heavier
Or you
ones.
might not be able to. Once a shorter wall is built, there'd be literally nowhere you could build a long wall left.
That's right, yeah. So it's a little strategic, like you said.
Something to look out for on ripping these wide boards is a lot of them will have a snipe at the end where the planer kind of rolled out, making the board narrower right at the end. And if you push that tight to the fence as you start, then you shove the board in, it's getting wider. It can't just fit in here. It'll just totally bind, and you'll be like, what is going on? That's what's going on. You started on a snipe and then shoved a wider board, and the blade is just getting bowed to the side, and it doesn't know what to do.
So the answer is to leave a gap off your fence when you see a little snipe, and you're aligning the fence with the bulk of the straight part of the board, not with this little tiny spot that's super crooked compared to the length of it.
So also, we're not putting one of these on the bottom because of the height. 12.5 is all we have. So just nail through the top plate into both of these, and we may have to wait on nailing the bottom one so that we can make sure it's flush. Like, we'll nail it after we stand it. We spotted a little mistake here where we nailed 2 wall sections together without first screwing the bottom plate down, and you can see that gap. And that made one wall section, this side, a little higher. Jamie can show you. So we're gonna sawzall all the nails and drop it down flush. There's a screw.
Where?
Right there. So you can see that. That's enough to make a difference on the next floor, believe it or not. I felt a raindrop.
Eric is using this pry bar to beat in there like a wedge to spread the 2 pieces of wood apart so that he's just cutting the nails. Believe it or not, the nails are super easy to cut, but cutting in between 2 pieces of wood that are tight together is really difficult.
Yep,
There you go.
Nails are easy. We've got it good and flushed out now, so we'll reattach it. So one thing we haven't looked at yet is whether cutting all these studs the same length is going to give us any bit of a flat top on this wall, because it's the same as the slab. We don't know how flat the slab is really, and we didn't check it.
Good.
Is it?
It's good.
That's good.
There are micro irregularities, but the big picture is flat.
Okay, what about that one? Turn your head the other way.
It's even flatter.
Really?
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
That's great news.
We're good. If you didn't know, that could be a major problem.
Yeah.
For example, on my own personal house, I cut studs all the same length in the basement, set them on the slab, and then when I was framing the second floor, I realized I'm getting a big hump in the floor joist here. What is the problem? And it turns out that my slab was over a 1/2 inch higher in the middle. So everything else was taking that shape of the slab and the wood framing.
Who poured your slab?
I did. It was terrible.
You know how we subbed the floors out last time?
Yep.
Can we do the floors and sub someone to paint it?
Sub out the painting.
Yeah.
Lay the floors.
Right.
Ray, you've said some really stupid stuff before, but that was the best thing you've ever said in your whole entire life right there. Dude.
I mean, I think we're all in
Seriously.
agreement.
Do you know how long we
I
are
work
from
for a
doing
month.
that?
Jono, what do
I
you
work
think?
for a month for free.
Jamie's trying to get this wall
A little bit, just kind of
to go that way.
hands on it and give it a little push, okay, and a little jiggle and then stop.
See if you can get the drop. There you go.
Let's try, whoa.
Yeah.
That looks really pretty good. I'm gonna check the other side to see if I need to add.
All right. Hold.
Okay.
A little more.
I think it go a touchy more. So give it a little jig there.
Jamie's got it where he wants, so we're gonna stick a brace on it. Do you want to stick 2?
I actually have 2 prepared. Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot of force.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right, Max, we're braced. You can unweight. There you go. In all seriousness, that's a pretty good way to inflict a lot of force. Yeah. If you don't have an excavator with a key sitting in it like we do.
And we do. We should have used it for that.
I know.
It wasn't that bad though. But
Yeah, an excavator can kind of, you got to get the force up high. There's no way you can push it from the ground.
barely squeak it through here. That's good.
Yeah, she's in the wall.
I
That's
like
good.
it. So that mark is an 1/8 inch off. I need to come back an 1/8 of an inch that way.
We're leaving 60 1/4 inches here for a 60-inch tub, and that's what our plumber likes, is a little extra room so you don't have to jam it in there.
I have found no good way to do this, because if you do that, you're going to have a gap somewhere off the wall and the drywall's not going to work out. So what does that mean? Well,
I don't know.
your guess is good as mine at this point.
With a 5-foot wide bathroom like this, it's just enough room for a 30-inch door. It's a 32-inch rough opening and a vanity and trim. So our vanity's 21 plus 1/2-inch drywall plus 1 inch overhang on the sink top. You're at 23, and that only leaves about 2.5 for trim. The other thing we could do is drop the king stud off of that, slide everything over 1.5 inches, but then the trim on this side would be like nothing. Or have a narrower door, but a 30-inch is like pretty nice. We're framing this bathroom right now, so this is where we left 60 1/4 this way. There's another wall right here that's a 2x8 thick wall, and it has a CO cased opening, and this will make a little hallway or privacy area from the family room. But we're not sure if the homeowner really wants this to be 2x8 thick. It doesn't need to be, and it's gonna cost more money. So right now we're gonna hold off on that and just let them think about it and call us back.
Think about that.
I think it'll look cool if it was 2x8 thick.
I do too. I think that's the whole coolness about it, is having like a deep wall. See, why is that cooler than a non-deep wall?
I don't know, because it costs more money.
I guess, well, it's maybe it's just fancier, you know?
Yeah,
Deeper.
I don't know.
Oh man, what'd you do? Shank a nail?
No, this is your nail.
No, it's not. Doesn't matter. You're editing this anyways. It doesn't matter. So you're never gonna make it to the final clip.
All right, there we go.
Ow.
Reaping all day.
What are you doing over here, Shank Williams Jr.?
He's cutting, and he's the smartest guy because, unlike us, he actually trained Max to do his
I know.
job.
Now he's just standing.
And he was
watching
standing there
Max do
just
it.
supervising. Dude, he's genius.
Why do you think I hung out with Arlo all the time?
Oh man, I smashed my car.
Wait, what did he say?
You ladies get perfect boards.
No, what did Jamie just say?
Jump on it, Max.
Put a wood foot on it.
Wood foot it.
All right. Nice. Is it gonna rain or what?
Yeah.
Holy moly. Jamie's like, nah, it's not gonna rain. I think it's gonna rain.
Yeah.
Let's pack it out.